about to really hurt some people's feelings. So if you a little sensitive, you might as well turn this joint off right now. Okay? How you afraid to drop a dime when you
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of Real Talk with Rebel Fitness. I am Carissa, the owner of Rebel Fitness, and then this is Shamar,
head trainer and director of private training.
Yeah, I did it this time.
There we go.
I remembered to intro you guys. I'm learning. It's the second podcast. The last one, I think, went really well. I got all the jitters out. Felt really good about it. Do you have any notes for the first podcast for us?
Just that we shouldn't be nervous because we're already good at it.
I love that. Okay.
Go. Confidence.
I'm going to work on my ums, you guys. I'm going to work on my ums so that they don't have to do.
We don't really have any ums when he's around.
He's doing a lot of editing of my ums. It's like one of those, you know, we did a drinking game. You took a shot for every somebody would be dead by the end. I'm going to work on that this time. I promise. Other than that, no notes. I think it went well. So
I think we're just rolling through.
Yeah.
Excited to have some mics, excited to ruffle some feathers and spread the good news.
Yes. Amen. All right. So with that said, let's get to it. I have to use my phone just a little bit today, a little bit of a cheat sheet, because we are going to, if you joined us for the last podcast, which I hope that you did, that sounds still so crazy saying that, go back and watch it. It's the lore of Rebel. It is where we came from, how we came to be. Our story is not as simple as most just I opened a gym owner situations. There's a lot that went into how we became who we are, specifically what we stand for and what we are standing on business on and walking forward into the future on in health and fitness space. And so we want to share that, but we hit on a lot in the last podcast of what we don't do, what we didn't want to do, right?
Or what we do differently, right? But what does that actually mean that we do, right?
Right. And so this one, we wanted to kind of get into a little more of like what we do and how we are able to continue to like roll in the health and fitness space the way we do. Because again, we ended the last podcast talking about how counterculture we are. And that actually, I did a little sticker on my Instagram story after the last podcast with a clip and was asking folks, you know, like ask us a question about the podcast or let us know something you would like to hear about. And I did get some questions from some other gym owners, some folks who I think were just interested about how do we run this thing without being knee deep in diet culture, with being weight neutral, which we'll talk a little bit about those terms.
Yeah, having a flagship that's not weight loss.
Yeah. Right? Like, how are we doing that? That is literally blowing people's minds. And we get it because, again, we are very countercultural. So we want to talk about that stuff a little bit today, give a little bit of, you know, our background, our stories, like some little anecdotal stuff. And then hopefully that'll give everybody an even better idea of where we're coming from, why we do what we do, and what's important to us.
And what you could expect if you walk through the door when you finally come see us at Rebel Fitness.
Amen. Amen. Or if you're a person watching this and you want to go this direction as a fitness professional or a gym owner or something like that, the thought of that lights me up about us creating, you know, like the compass for somebody. I mean, it's a big deal. I wish we would have had one. It would have made things a lot easier. But
our timeline would have been different with the roadmap.
100%. So we're creating that roadmap, which feels incredible. And I hope that this video finds somebody someday who is trying to make that switch, whether they are a private trainer, fitness professional who's doing something very specific individually, or somebody who is looking to open a gym and establish that culture. You could already own a gym like I did, and you want to make that switch because you feel that, that integrity thing happening in your head where you're like, this is just not a fit. I'm not aligning with this. That could be it. And let us be your North Star. Okay.
Absolutely.
So with that said, you guys, when we established Rebel Fitness, we got to work on creating a mission statement, right? Because that's what every business does is you've got to have those core things. You got to have your mission statement, your job descriptions,
what's your
and your
why,
the whole thing.
It is.
We did all that. We did it actually multiple times. I think there was like probably 5 or 6 staff meetings that we sat and did this and did roundtables and had everybody write one. And then I went back and put them all together and mushed them together and created like 18 different mission statements, and none of them ever stuck. I never, ever came back to a meeting with our official mission statement. Nothing was fitting the bill at all.
Nothing would encompass everything that we wanted to do and everything that we wanted to represent.
100%. And if it did, it would be so vague that like, what is even the point of doing that? So what we did do though, in doing those meetings, is we established what we call the Rebel Pillars. And so the pillars became our North Star, and it is the thing, like our gospel, and it's the thing that we run every single thing that we do through. Okay. Because one of the hardest things when you establish that you are a weight neutral gym, you're not going to do anything with weight loss. You're going to focus on, body neutrality, not necessarily even positivity, because sometimes that can get a little toxic too, but like a body neutral gym. And we want to stay in this space, but it's so hard because you feel pulled to go back the other direction all the time, especially when we were first started and it was like, times are tough. Like the ads we talked about were like getting crickets, and we were like, oh my God, maybe we do need to go back. But we established these pillars. Every program, every trainer, every training, everything that we do, everything that we launch into this gym has to go.
Everything that we say to a member as they walk through the door, everything that we say to a person as they come in for a consultation goes through these pillars, right? Nothing comes out of our mouths, off of our social media, without going through all of these pillars.
Yep. And then that has created, like, it has given us the guidance. It's given us the thing that kind of keeps us in check and makes sure that we're being true to ourselves and staying in that space, because this is not an easy space to stay in. And I don't want anybody to feel like that. I mean, sometimes that's why I get a little, I don't mind offending people about certain things, or I don't mind being a little more abrasive about things, but it's just because this has been a hard road. And so it has not been easy in any way, shape, or form. And so that sometimes comes out a little bit in that. And
the trauma starts talking.
The trauma comes out just a bit, and it's fine. We're still dealing with it. It's been something that has shaped us in a really, really important way too. So with that said, before my phone turns off, we're just going to run through these pillars, okay, you guys? And we are going to talk a little bit about individual ones, and then we'll go from there. Shoot, there was an take a shot. Okay, so first one is gratitude. So actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through all of them first, and then we'll go back and touch base about all of them, okay? So gratitude, love, courage, passion, authenticity, perseverance, and service. So those are the pillars of Rebel. And we have a definition under all of these, but what we'll do is just kind of touch base about them, and you'll get the definition a lot in this, but we'll be really specific about, from my point of view, it's going to be even more like the business side of it, like what I was thinking business-wise when we were transitioning over to this. I know Shamar definitely has some thoughts on that as well, but his will mainly be like the actual product, like what we're providing to people and that type of thing. So with gratitude, we really wanted to make sure that we had helped people find like this complete mindset shift about where they are with their body. So in the last podcast, I talked a little bit about my story with health and fitness and how I went through a lot of highs and a lot of really low lows with my own personal health history. And it ultimately led me to the space of being able to be grateful exactly where I'm at, and then depending on the season that I'm in. So sometimes it's a really high because it's like you're the fittest and you're running and doing all the things and CrossFitting. And, Shamar and I were talking about, like, for me, that was like when I was playing volleyball, right? Like I was at a high. Again, I didn't realize how unhealthy I was at that point. But then I would hit like these other low lows after pregnancies and after really significant injuries and setbacks and things like that. But the overall thing I always remember is feeling like I'm battling my body. Like it's like when I'm hitting these lows, I'm mad at my body, I'm battling my body, I'm fighting against my body. Like a lot of even the ads that come out anymore, I feel like are like, women having to like fight back against menopause and women having to fight back to get snatched after having the baby or the bounce back or whatever it is. It's all like this really whack like terminology and dialogue instead
there's
of
guilt associated with almost all of it.
Yes. Right? Instead of it being like, hey, this is a season. Let me like link arms with my body literally and say, okay, like what are we going to do in the season? How's it going to be different? It doesn't have to be the season now. I'm 45 years old is not going to look the same as when I was in college. And like, why is diet culture trying to make me think that? Right. But it's a business. We've established that. So we're fighting back against that instead of our bodies. And so the gratitude thing for me was like, how do I help lead people into that idea of like, it's a complete mindset shift, no matter where I'm at, no matter what the season looks like, no matter how many times I'm exercising or not, no matter how many vegetables I'm eating a day or not, I'm still in a space of gratitude for what my body can do, what it's capable of doing, for the community that I have around me, for the gym that I have, for the abilities that I have, any of those things.
And yeah, that just piggybacking off of that, that's a big thing that we look into with our programming as well, that we don't want you to come in and just have to slog through all your workouts because you hate the movements that you're doing, right? We want you to be grateful that you've found exercises or movements that make your body happy. Like maybe you're finally doing a variation of a squat that doesn't hurt your knees, or you finally found a curl or press variation that your elbows are completely pain-free in. So just giving you the chance to be grateful for movement instead of looking at movement as harassment or as some type of, punishment, like a lot of coaches have made it for people.
Amen.
And then that kind of transitions well into our next pillar, which is love. And that's really just talking about loving your body enough to make it change, which is something I mentioned in the last episode as well. A lot of the ads and the rhetoric in the fitness industry are around, don't you want to be better? Don't you want to be able to do this? Don't you miss when you could do this? Don't you miss this body, right? It's never anything positive about the body you have right now. It's always, won't you love it more once you have it this way? What about loving the body you have right now enough to make it better, right? Instead of looking at that Ferrari you don't have that you need to go buy, what if the truck you have in your driveway that just needs a little bit of work can get you every single place that you need to go? And that's how we try to envision our bodies. You don't need something new. You don't need the best, highest speed, fastest new thing. You just need to take care of what you have, love it, appreciate it, and get what you can get out of it, because it's got a lot to give you if you work with it.
Amen to that. You will never hate your body enough to make positive change. Ever. Period. Okay?
And you'll never truly commit. Hate is a good motivator, but hate doesn't really help you grow a lot of discipline, at least from the experiences I've seen with our members. It's a good short-term motivator, but when things really, really get hard, the hate just doesn't do it for discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a life. Nobody wants to live like that anyway, or have any friends while they're doing it. Mm-hmm. All right. Next up is courage. So this was a big one for me just because I always say I like to lead from the front on things. So whenever you're experiencing a hard time in something, whether it's, fitness or it's parenting or it's a study of some kind, or you want to, get more into reading your Bible, or, you can come up with 1,000 things, right? You want to get better at a specific move in soccer or something like that. I always say to people, like, lead from the front on that. Start a group of your own, or get into a leadership position in that so that you can lead from the front, which is automatically going to put you in a better position to be successful because you're leading other people. And so by default, a lot of times you will be successful in that. So the courage thing for us was huge when we just made the decision to become rebel. We made the decision to stop selling weight loss. We made the decision to stop lying to people. We made the decision to stop selling health under the guise of disorder and craziness. And so that was a huge one for me. I was like, we're displaying that courage right off the bat. And what better way to like help people do the same thing in your space, in your group, than to display it from the top and it trickles down, right? That's the true trickle down theory right there.
And when you lead from the front, it almost puts you in that forced accountability position, right? Because you've got people following you. You said, hey, I'm going to do this. Come link arms with me and do this with me, right? So you can't just give up because now there's people looking to you and there's people depending on you.
100%. And that's exactly what we did.
Accountability can just be, that's the driving factor that you need sometimes.
Yeah. And so the courage aspect for us, it's multifaceted when it comes to like running a weight neutral gym. But the biggest, like the two biggest prongs, I guess, that we see of this is number one, people stepping out of their comfort zone and go to the gym at all. So a lot of our folks, our avatar, are people who have maybe never even attempted a gym, or they've been scared to death to even attempt fitness at all in their life. There's another semi-large, and a lot of people don't always share this, but sometimes you can tell when they come in that they've been traumatized or hurt by a gym in some way. And that could be by a trainer in particular. That could be by the space in general. That could be by the shaming and the, crazy rhetoric that comes with like the diet culture stuff, the hate, again, like Shamar was saying, the hating yourself enough to want to change. Like
maybe the general culture at the space, whether it was said or not, there's just an aura around the building that makes you feel that if you don't look a certain way, you shouldn't be there. That's hard to rebuild the courage to show back up to a place like that. Why would you go back into a place that made you feel small and unwanted?
Absolutely. And so that's part of our culture at Rebel is when you walk in there, again, we're going to make sure that we're leading from the front on that. We're going to make sure we're holding ourselves accountable to that. And so that way it is felt in every single thing we do, say, whatever, that we are excited that people are being courageous enough to be in there. And we're going to make sure that we back that up with everything that we do and say. Courage.
And that also just goes right into our next pillar, which is passion. And we just want to make sure that we're passionate about every service, every class, every client, every member that comes into the gym, whether you're having a one-on-one session and you just want to make sure that client understands how much you want them to succeed, or you're teaching a class full of 10 to 15 people and you have to encourage all of them and be the energy for all of them after a long day at work. That's your job, right? To have the passion. It's not their job to walk in and be excited to work out. It's our job as a trainer, as the gym staff, as whoever's there, to be the passion, to be the energy for them, right? And that has to show. You have to smile when they're walking in. You have to be excited to see them. You have to ask them about what's going on. You have to be passionate, not only about the work that you're doing, but the connections that you're building, right? And that's what really helps with the accountability at our gym, because there's fitness and there's nutrition, but the last point that a lot of people never get is that accountability. And when you really are passionate about something, or you feel that someone is passionate about you and wants you to succeed as bad as you want to succeed or even more, I feel like it's hard not to, at least put yourself into that position to succeed and to want to hold yourself accountable as bad as they want you to succeed, Absolutely.
And I think another place that we found in this, again, kind of like talking about more like the business thing, is the passion can be hard for fitness professionals to guide, right? So like one of Shamar's favorite things he always says when we're training new people is you've got to be the coach that people need you to be, not the coach that you necessarily want to be. And so the passion is one of those things that even in this setup that we have with the type of culture that we've set up has to be guided a little bit more and has to be like honed a little bit more. It's like, here's an example and we'll see how this goes. Surprise, here we go. So hot takes and disrespect, that's what I'm getting ready to call this little segment, okay? So this weekend, the ECU baseball team played in like the regionals, okay? Shout out to the ECU baseball team. This team came out, like they have taken so much disrespect this season. Nobody thought that they were going to be able to do anything.
Very slept on.
Oh my gosh, these Facebook groups have been terrible, all the things. And they played so well this week. I mean, we're all so proud of them. But there is always this group of people that they are so passionate about this team. They are so passionate about these players. They are so passionate.
They bleed purple and gold, if you will.
They do. But what happens is that passion comes out in some of the most unbelievable ways at games, in Facebook groups, in comment sections, and things like that. You know, you're talking about people who, you know, they probably didn't even make the JV team in high school. Like, everybody gather around and let's hear what the guy who couldn't make the JV team in high school has to say about a nationally ranked baseball team. Okay.
And that's, so, you know, the thing with passion is it does almost always breed emotion and breed reaction, but it's not always good.
That part. And so that's why I bring that up to say it is the passion for something can be absolutely fantastic. It's necessary. It's got to be there. And it is a love factor. Like, there is a love factor in those guys who have got all these things to say. But when it comes out the way it does, where it's like, let me tell you what you're actually supposed to do, and we don't, no. It's a disappointment. There's an emotion under that. So, like, people who are self-aware and like understand people can see that, but it still comes out like crap. Yeah. It still sounds like crap. And that's what a lot of fitness professionals will do, is they will project a lot of their own stuff and their own insecurities and their own feelings and disappointments and whatever on other people, not knowing that, like, that wasn't even their goal. We talk about this all the time. Is like, you can't project your goal for somebody onto them. Like, that's wild. And so the passion aspect, again, is something that it seems really simple, right? It seems like we'll just have a bunch of staff that really care about other people.
Because
it's not that simple.
Passion without compassion can become toxic very, very quickly. Because if you're, you want to be this, you want to have I'll get you to a 6-pack, right? But what if it's at the expense of that person's health? What if your passion for the goal to get them there goes around what you originally, planned to do, which is to help them find the healthiest way?
Exactly.
So you can't let the passion take control of your rational mind.
Exactly. Take note, fans. Y'all, I played volleyball. So I can't even imagine what these kids have to deal with, these football particular and baseball players, what they have to deal with the folks that come out of the woodwork with all of these. Like, we didn't have to worry about stuff like that, and there was enough pressure. I can't even fathom the pressure. So shout out to these teams, ECU baseball. And you guys
social media,
absolutely
they
killed it.
They don't even get to be off when they leave the field.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway.
Don't let your passion become a bad thing, people.
Yep, that's right. So check yourself. All right. Next. Am I next?
You're next.
Authenticity. Well, that was a perfect thing to come off of. Okay, so.
There was Carissa being authentic for a minute.
Authenticity. Got to stand up for these athletes, boy. So authenticity, again, this was a really important one when it came to the business. Because, again, if I can't lead from the front on that, what am I even doing? I'm just shifting from one thing to the next. I didn't want to fake it. I wanted us to be able to be who we are truly. I knew I couldn't run a space because I had tried when we were the previous gym. I had tried to run it. It just never felt aligned. You could tell it's just that place never really got going. It never really had like the feeling that I have now when I walk into that gym. Totally different. Totally different. Oh my gosh. It's absolutely amazing. Like, that is something I will literally like get teary about in here. But that is something, that was so unbelievably important to me, was us being able to be authentic to who we are as individuals. If you walk into our gym, the diversity level is chef's kiss in there. And it's something that I'm always kind of a psycho about. Right. I make sure that our staff is very diverse, and it's like, and that's in everything. That's
got my pride bracelet on as we speak. Yep. Not diverse in just the staff, right? The members, the shapes, sizes, religions, race, racial background, preferences in any type of way, socioeconomic, political, like, anybody can walk in and be a rebel, which is the best 100%. Thing.
And our ages. Who's our oldest member right now, age-wise?
Probably Albert. or Tom, right?
Okay. And that's...
Or Craig. Craig is 70.
Okay.
We
So
got
70 something.
some mid-70s down to 4, 5. Yeah. So, a 70-year age range.
And we've got a lot more 70. I mean, my mom, Marianne, like we got a lot of folks.
Yeah, and I personally train a retirement home class for Parkinson's and life improvement. And my oldest member there is 93. Yeah. Shout out to Bob.
Yeah. Let's go, Bob.
Let's go, Bob.
So that is something, again, that we have, like, that's really important to us. And that's not even something we really tried to do. Because you'll have a lot of gurus out there who'll be like, if this is your avatar, stick with your avatar. Like, don't, no. Like, there's always somebody out there telling you what to do. And I think the second we just stopped caring about that and being like, hey, our focus is on people who want to increase their quality of life and actually care what true health looks like and want to feel safe in a space and feel empowered in a space and feel really good in a space. That was the most important thing to us. And then that's when the game changed. And so us being our most authentic self. And again, we have to run that then. I want you guys to think about programming, right? When we run that through the authenticity pillar, that will 100%, if you take 90% of what diet culture and disordered gym culture is selling and you run it through that authenticity, it ain't making it through. It is not making it through because it is absolute crap. It is a dupe. It is lying in some way or it's shifting wording.
Sensationalized in one way or another.
Yep. And so that is tough. That's a tough thing to do, is to take a program, like we were talking about the 6-week challenges in the first podcast. Those never would have made it through that because we are not, that's not authentic. I'm telling people, hey, we're going to help you be healthier. Well, losing 20 pounds in 6 weeks
you're
is
not being grateful for the body you have right now. And you're not showing very much love to the body that's gotten you to where you are.
The 6-week challenges, they would have cut all those. And again, I'm going to throw another thing out there, but like these freaking, what are those things called? The no pounds gain challenges or whatever that they do over on the holiday time, not making it through these. Not making it through these because all you're doing is you're learning to manipulate the scale. That is it. And then you're not enjoying your holidays. Like, what are we actually doing with those challenges? I mean, for real. And I love that. If you're watching this and you've got, you got a take on those, I would love to hear it. But I've been there. I've done that. Right. It is not, these cleanses. The amount of money that I spent, we'll take a little side journey in Chris's life here for a second, especially after pregnancies. Women are the most we are the most vulnerable. We are exhausted. We feel like crap. I mean,
hormonal.
My gosh. Yeah. And we just feel so out of place and out of pocket and everything. It doesn't matter how many kids you had. I felt like this 1, 2, and 3. And diet culture is killing us at that moment. Like it is like the bounce back, the snap back. Come on, like get going, do it.
This
like
supplement, this
got to be doing that. Yeah. And all the craziness is coming at us. And I remember being hit really, really hard during that time with all the cleanses. I'm trying to remember the one that we used to always do, like a reset cleanse or something like that it was called. And it was, and they still do them. A lot of these MLMs still do them. I'm not going to say any names. You know who you are. And it's like 3, 5, 7-day cleanses, and you're drinking something that tastes like you just, blended up the leaves on the shrubs outside.
Green tea and swamp water.
Yeah. And you're eating a vegetable a day and you're just living through it. And then, but y'all, the reality is all you're getting, you paid $75 for that cleanse. All you're getting is the high that you get from stepping on that scale and seeing that scale go down. And guess what? Save $75 and don't eat.
Yeah. Monetized malnutrition.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Expensive starvation. And it is wild. The amount of money and time that I spent on those things is insane. But I was living for the high. I was living for the high of that number going down, and it was temporary. I knew it every single time. I was living for the high of my stomach feeling flatter.
That morning skinny.
Oh my gosh. And then the second it's over, you know what we were doing? Straight to La Ranch. Straight to the margs.
Earn this marg today. Earn this marg.
And then, what are we doing? And so that's the authenticity piece that is so important for us, is like, we're not going down this path. I will not lead people down this same path in the name of health. So anyway, that's on authenticity.
There we go. And then next up, perseverance. That's something we've had to show a lot of just getting to this point. And then that's something that we really want to have trickled down to our members. I think that fitness just gives you a level of resiliency that allows you to persevere, right? Without fitness, there's really no way to continue living the life that you want to live for a lot of these people. To see people come through after a surgery, after a severe injury, and be, told by a doctor, hey, you'll never walk the same. You may never do this activity. You'll always have knee pain. You'll always have back pain, and get them to a position where they never thought they would be, showing them that there is hope a lot of the time is all it takes to give them the motivation that they need to persevere, right? So that's the biggest thing with us, is just not quitting during those hard times, because fitness is not a linear progression. No matter how hard people want to sell it to you, you're not just going to consistently gain muscle. You're not just going to consistently drop fat. That's not a real life situation. It's not realistic. So sticking to it when the scale or the body fat percentage doesn't look exactly how you want it to. Sticking to it when you show up and you have 2 or 3 bad workouts in a row because you know that there's going to be a good workout on the other side. That's what perseverance looks like at Rebel Fitness.
Yes. And business-wise, just helping people, I think one of the number one things that we would see is probably not even probably the number one thing is quitting.
Oh, yeah.
So learning the difference between resting and quitting, because you got to rest. And again, diet culture doesn't want to tell you that.
Right.
And we'll talk about this more in the next one, our whole dial theory. But business, looking at the business side of perseverance, it's helping people understand how to rest and not quit. Because the second that they quit, they stop, that is and then trying to get them back activated, trying to get them into it. And so a lot of our programming now that we write and a lot of our programs that we put together are focused more on that perseverance thing. And if that requires you having a coach so that you've got somebody who, is not going to let you Homer Simpson into the bushes, they're going to pull you back out. I've called an Uber for a member before, who was excuse after excuse after excuse. And then the last one, she was like, my car. And she was sitting there talking about the whole thing. And I said, no problem. As she was talking, I walked up to the front desk and I typed in her thing, found her address, got on the thing, sent her an Uber. And I said, no worries. I said, but go ahead and get dressed. I said, because you've got an Uber on the way. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, they'll be there in about 7 minutes. And she showed up, walked in the door. She goes, I cannot with you for that. And I said, girl, I'm not going to sit here and listen to you. I know what you're doing and I still love you. And that's what we're here for. But that was the best $7 or whatever it was that I ever spent. Because then she was like, she sent me a message not too long after that and was like, thank you for believing in me and calling me on my BS, which essentially what it was. Yeah. So,
and I feel like it's extremely rare to have somebody become more confident due to their perseverance in the gym and have it not trickle into other aspects of their life. Totally. All of a sudden you realize, okay, being uncomfortable doesn't mean I have to stop. Okay, I can be more uncomfortable than I thought I could. Totally. Okay, success is actually at the end of my comfort zone, like all the corny millionaires say, right? But you can't keep cranking the 5-pound dumbbells for 20 pounds and expect to have those sexy shredded shoulders you want for the summer. At some point, you got a progressive overload. You got to put a little muscle on, mama. That's just how it works.
I was going to shout out MLM.
Hashtag muscle mommies. They're trending in 2025.
Yes, let's go. I was going to shout out MLM for a mean reason, but I won't. So don't get over the 5-pound weights, y'all. Mm-hmm. And again, we'll talk about that in the next one, what it actually takes to create body recomposition and things of that nature. But it ain't that. So the last one, y'all, is service. So service is, again, kind of a multifaceted when it comes to us and especially the business side. When we redid this, I wanted to make sure, again, for me, that this gym was more than just a business. And so that is important to me. It has been important to me. I love community. I love being involved in the community. I love having my hands in things. I come from a mental health background. And mental health is a very deep situation. It is a misunderstood situation and an underserved situation. And so that alone for me makes me want to be involved in as much as I can. But all of the different, places in Greenville, nonprofits and committees and boards and things of that nature that are doing incredible work around here with an incredible purpose, we want to be a part of those things. Like service is payment for our time here on earth. I truly believe that. And the more connected you are to community and you're like in its face, what is happening, and you're getting your hands dirty. And I'm a Christian, so it's like being the hands and feet of Jesus is really important to me. But the closer you are to those things and you're in it, the less detached you can get and just become one of these money hungry billionaire whatever types who that's all they care about. Or you get to the point where, and I know a lot of them around here too, where they're not in the nitty gritty of things. They'll stroke a check pretty quick, but they're not actually connected to what's happening in their community. And that's something that I always feel very strongly about. So that's why we do our fight nights and help raise a ton of money for local folks. That's why we're volunteering. We're, Joy's Soup Kitchen. Shout out to Tom and Joy's Soup Kitchen as much as humanly possible. We're in the schools. We're talking and speaking in different places. We're trying to help, the colleges with what we can, where we can. And that is important to me. Again, trickle-down effect of that is it creates a service culture within the gym, which helps us serve our members, which at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And no matter your belief system, your political background, you should live a more fulfilled life if you focus on the amount of people you can positively influence, right? The amount of lives that you can touch and change in a positive way should matter to you more than the amount of money in your pocket. At least that's how we look at it.
Preach, 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 preach. And it automatically will open more doors. And not just in a way of like a business way of like moving into things, but like open doors for other people. I know that we have opened doors during fight nights that have benefited our members because now we had this connection to,
another
something.
Small business in town.
Yeah.
You're also a nonprofit. Like, it's so great to see you here. What can we do together?
Yep.
Or we just invite people in and they're like, this was incredible. How do we sponsor the next one? How do we get our name? How do we, become a donor for a fight night?
Yep.
So it gives people an opportunity to serve when you serve.
Yep. 100%. And if you guys are not familiar with our fight nights, go check it out on our social media page if you get a chance. We are always looking for new folks who would like to raise some money, but mainly raise awareness. Our fight nights are really fun. They're totally different. They are non-contact. I'm not going to get into it right now, like the specifics, but it's non-contact. It's an absolute blast. And we raise a ton of money, but more importantly, we raise a ton of awareness and connect a lot of people with resources during these things. And they're an absolute blast. We love them. And so that's on service.
That's on service.
Yep. So that is the pillars, y'all. And we're going to stop it there because we kind of want to talk a little bit more about like how we created those, how we run, what we do through those business-wise. Stay tuned for the next one where we're going to go into a little more specifics about what that looks like on the actual gym side.
Yeah, the programming, the nutrition, the advice we give to our members, how our trainers come in and do their programming, the protocol to become a trainer at Rebel Fitness. We'll kind of go over a little bit of all that.
Yep. And why it's and sets you up for, number one, again, if you're looking for a gym and you're local, why you would want to come hang out with us. If you're somebody who's trying to make this adjustment, and we can kind of lead the way on that, what that looks like, because we sit at a very high % success rate with our folks. Our Momentum program alone is sitting at around an 88% success rate. And I measure that not just by the people who set a goal at the beginning of Momentum and then accomplish it, but I also look at people who continue it because again, that perseverance part, a lot of the time we would see 6-week challenges. That was another marketing scam with that, where it's like 6 weeks is like the sweet spot. This is literally how they sold us into providing those. Like 6 weeks is right before they're going to fall off anyway. So get the most you can out of them for 6 weeks, because then they're going to fall off anyway.
That's
so
a
like,
crazy
that's the
take.
I'm
That's
telling
insane.
you, it's wild, the psychology. And again, we'll talk about a lot of that in this podcast. I'm going to put it all out there. The trainings that we went through, the things that we were taught, the things that we were encouraged to do to keep people in this constant circle of just shame and doubt and failure and believing it's their fault that they failed. Again, I don't know if I said this in the last podcast, but the weight loss business it's a $90 billion business. They are not trying to solve anything. I can promise you that.
They're actually finding new problems all the time.
100%. And more expensive ways to fix them that are going to destroy you even more and require you to have more medications and more cleanses and more whatever. So anyway, next one on deck, we'll talk a little more specifics, a little bit more about the specifics of the programming side, the fitness side, the trainer side. So we hope to see you guys there.
Absolutely. And thank y'all for tuning back in for the second installment of Real Talk with Rebel. We'll see you soon for the next programming installment. And thank y'all for tuning in.
Bye.